Julie, are you drinking wine right now?
Am I drinking wine right now?
She's definitely drinking lemon water.
I should be drinking wine right now. We should have all taken a shot before this.
Actually, take out a beer if you wanted to, but it's all good.
No, go get a beer.
Super casual.
Go for it. Should we all do a shot?
Josh won't do it.
I won't.
I know, Josh is no fun.
He's nervous. Now let's do it.
He's too nervous. All right, you guys ready?
He's more nervous for this than he was for Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I
I'm flattered. Literally flattered. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Everyone good?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Roaring 20s podcast. Today we have on with us the charming boys from the Charity Stripe podcast, Nick, Josh, and Alex. We're going to be doing a little fun fire questions about dating, communicating, sex, relationships, all the fun stuff. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. Julia has a totally different tone today.
Than our usual energy.
Right,
Josh,
It's going to be great.
Well, I feel like we should probably inform the listeners as to how much you know each one of us, right, Julia? And Brenda, both of you.
We should.
Yeah.
So Josh and I, also in a second, I want you guys to go around and introduce yourselves. But Josh and I have been friends since middle school. And we've stayed friends. It's been a journey. Here we are, 25 years old. Do you have anything to add to that, Joshua?
I'm actually 26. I'm over the hill on the quarter century mark. Now I'm old. Now I'm ancient. We've been friends, and then Brenda and I were friends in high school as well. And yeah, Jules and I have been friends since French class in 7th grade. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you witness him kiss the French teacher?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, did I witness him kiss the French teacher?
I told y'all I wasn't making that up. I totally kissed Miss K on the lips.
Oh my God, it's so inappropriate.
Wow.
I did.
He was doing like somersaults across the room. He was like she'd be teaching and he would just get up and come over to my desk and like sit and start having a conversation.
I feel like Josh has always had such a bold energy.
That's a great way to look. That is a great way to look at it.
That's really nice.
And then Jules,
I think it's most impressive. Yeah.
What, Alex? What's
most impressive that you guys are? Most impressive that you guys are still friends. Not many people I feel like are still friends with the people that they were friends with in middle school. That's a test of time. Josh always jokes. He always says, "Toss, remember when we were boys in high school?" And of course we weren't because we grew up in different cities. But he loves asking that question. And you guys were actually quote unquote boys
in high school. It's really a testament to my strength as a person.
Totally.
100%.
I believe that.
What a fascinating segue.
Yeah.
Fascinating. But so I want you guys to go around, introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, where you're from, how old you are, and your relationship status.
Is this like our Hinge profile or what?
Yeah, a little bit.
Josh,
kick it off.
I'll kick. Me, Josh, 26, from Merrick, New York, same town as these lovely ladies, and currently single.
All right, cool. I'm Nick. I'm here for the right reasons. I am from Austin, Texas. I'm from Austin, Texas. I was born in San Diego, but I claim Austin because that's where I became a man. And went to University of Texas with these two fine gentlemen here. Will be 26 next month, and I'm also single.
Alex.
And I'm Alex, but if the guys call me Toss, that's their nickname for me. I'm 25. I'm from Dallas, and I have a girlfriend. We've been dating for. I put myself on the spot here. I made myself do the math, but we've been dating for a year and 7 months.
Whoa!
We have one mature man with us today.
When did the 7 months happen? I felt like
you know what? It happened in quarantine because just time stopped for all of us, but I guess it kept going.
Jesus, what the fuck?
Yeah, we started dating in May of 2019. Don't check my 7 months because that might not be the right math, but I think it
would
is.
come at you for that. Can I change my answer? By the way, for if Nick said he became a man in Austin, I also want to claim Austin as home. In that,
you cannot claim Austin as home. We watched you grow up. You can't do that.
Big Hook'em vibes.
Oh my goodness. So now that we know a little bit about you guys and who you are, where you're from, your age, and your relationship status, tell us a little bit about the charity stripe and how you guys came to actually starting the show.
I guess I'll go for that one. Well, what happened was that one of my buddies, Chance, who I went to college with, we were in a program together. He was doing a horror film review podcast, something along those lines. His friend Paige, and then he was telling me about it. And he's like, "Dude, you like to talk, you know a lot about sports. You should do one of these as well." And I was like, "All right, can I borrow your mic?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. Just plug it into your computer." So I plugged it in. He's like, "You need to get in the closet. You need all this. Like, you know how to make it sound good." And I was like, "Damn, I'm way too lazy to do all that." And then I just got in my underwear, threw a blanket over my head, and just recorded for an hour and a half. It was terrible. And I had such a great time. And I was like, "I'd love to do this again." He's like, "You could do it in the corner of my bedroom, my little studio." And I was like, "All right." So I did 1, 2, and I'm like, I can't do this by myself. And then Alex and Nick had really just moved to LA. Like we were like, Toss and I were friends in college because he was roommates with my fraternity brothers. Nick and I like were friendly. We had met a couple times, but not a lot of UT people had come to LA, and we all kind of just band together and we got tight pretty quickly. So they kind of came in on like the first, like episode 4 or 5, they jumped in. They, I guess, liked it enough, or we had it fun enough that we did it a little longer. And like by episode 20, our buddy Chance, like, "Guys, I love y'all, but you can't keep coming into my bedroom and just doing this." And we're like, "Yeah, it's a good point." So we were kind of nomadic. And then our other buddy Ryan, who was helping us out, we were going to his place to record. And then we ran into Toss's high school friend who had just moved to LA. He didn't even move to LA. And he's like, we're chatting up. He's like, "You guys can come record in my bedroom." So we did that. We recorded in his room with him on the show. There was like 5 of us on the show, maybe sometimes 6. Everyone with one little mic, everyone yelling from across the room.
Yeah.
We did that not even for like 10 episodes. We did that to like episode like 80 something, like way deep into that. Yeah, we like it was bananas. Then we eventually started doing it in my bedroom. By episode like 135, we had a guest. I slept on a bed. It's actually outside right now that it's a couch bed. It converts bed to couch. And so whenever we had a guest, they'd come to my bedroom, and we would make it look like it was a couch and not like a living, and like look like it wasn't a bedroom.
God.
And like at the end of it, they'd be like, "Is this someone's bedroom?" And we'd be like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's fine." And we'd have like athletes come in and do it, and we're like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then we moved into the place we're at now and built a studio out of our I guess dining room. And yeah, we've been doing it. We just did our 299th show, and we're doing 300 on Sunday, it looks like. And
yeah,
we've had a really, really fun time in between, and a lot of ridiculous stories, a lot of slamming your head against the wall, a lot of high fives, and that's just the beauty of the whole game. Did I cover everything, guys?
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot in between, but you got the gist of it.
I got the gist of it. I don't want to like give like a whole autobiography to these.
No, I think it's a fun story of how many different places we've recorded, and somehow we've stuck with it. I mean, Josh and Nick recorded an episode from their car one time, and like because it didn't work in an alley. Like we've recorded the episodes where the mic wasn't plugged in, and we had to re-record it all over again. I'm sure y'all have done the same, but like we've been through all the ups and downs. But it's been fun though.
Yeah, and look where you guys are now. Matthew McConaughey is coming on the show, so you're doing something right.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a good one. I knew the show was going. I knew everyone was at least into it or was going to go somewhere when the time I didn't plug in the microphone. And I was like, "Shit, guys, I think we're going to have to re-record this." And I was like ready for them to tell me to fuck off and just leave it. And it is what it is. But both of them like kind of sighed and like sat back down next to me. We just like did it again. And I was like, "All right, this could go somewhere. We could have some fun with this." So that was a frustrating moment, but then it ended up being a nice moment.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's honestly so cool to hear though, because I feel like obviously it's very relevant to us in starting something that you really believe in and see potential in, and like seeing where it goes and having moments literally all over the place where like things waver the way you feel about it. But it's really cool that you guys have that dynamic, which obviously is why you are where you are at through almost 300 episodes now, for having the same belief in your show and putting so much effort into it. So really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
great.
we all five of us can look at each other honestly and say that we were on the podcast game before everyone else started in quarantine. So
yeah, everyone
yes,
quarantine podcasts. My God.
We've been on the beach way longer, man. They're just hopping on their first wave kind of
I mean,
thing.
you guys have been on a long time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
really impressive.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be here without the three of you. So
it's so super sweet of y'all. And I know I said I was single at the top, but I kind of am in a 3-way relationship with these two as well, between working together, living together, working together in other places, acting classes, the whole 9 yards. So it is a lot of time.
I worked at a restaurant together in Los Angeles called John and Vinny's, and everyone would always ask us if we lived together. And we were like, no, there's no way that could happen. We would kill each other.
Because we're in the same got to a point. Yeah.
We were in the same class. We were in the same job. We were recording. We were going out together. We had the same friend group. Literally every single day I saw him. So we were pretty much living together.
It was like at a point where I was living with Toss and I was seeing Nick more.
Oh my God.
Which was crazy.
And we like finagled our schedule where we can work on the same shifts, and we both work like 4 days a week, and it was always the same shifts.
Okay, so when we hang up, I'll call you guys a therapist real quick.
Yeah.
Help you guys out. I'm kidding. It's so cute. We love your dynamic. The show is amazing. And it really, like, in all honesty, you guys have been a huge inspiration for us. So we're excited to have you guys here now. And I think we should get into the real fun stuff.
Yeah, you buttered us up before you put us.
Exactly. Alex, I'm going to give you a little out if there's a question and you're like, my girlfriend might not want me answering that one. It's okay.
I appreciate that. That's pretty gracious. I appreciate that. Yeah.
But of course, we want all your input where you feel good.
Okay. I'll be as open as I can be.
Good. And we have some like long-term relationship questions in there as well, so that's going to be your spotlight.
Great.
Let's kick it off with, do you guys know what love languages are?
Yeah.
I'm just curious, do you know what your love languages are, like what your two are that you identify with?
Well, remind us, like there's 5, right? Is that what it, remind us the 5 so that we can.
There's words of affirmation, acts of service, physical touch, gift giving. Mm-hmm. Which one am I missing, Ju?
Quality time.
I know what mine are.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah.
Mine are physical touch for sure.
For sure.
And
you've witnessed that.
Yeah, y'all know from high school. And I'm always, even my buddies, I'm like always like patting them on the back, giving them a hug, or like dapping them up, even like just like touching them, like, what up, man? Like just fit. And then gift give. I don't know if y'all's are gift giving, but I feel like all of ours could be gift giving. We get each other gifts on our birthdays, like the 3 of us, and like are always just getting like random, like if we see something that the other person would like, we're always buying it for them.
That's
and just like,
love that.
Yeah, so I think gift giving is my other one.
Love it.
Yeah, you're definitely a big physical touch guy.
You said to me that I put my hands on your neck because they were cold. Like, get off me last night.
Josh was a little cringy to watch in high school, you know, with the physical touch.
There was a lot.
People just wish they were part of it. So
I don't think that was it.
I don't think so either.
About when I think about Josh.
Great.
Alex, what's yours?
There's so much more to you.
I'm definitely, I mean, we do like giving gifts to each other, but for me, that's just kind of like a fun thing, not necessarily like, it's meaningful, but it's not like, I don't know, the end all be all. I'm a big words of affirmation guy. I'm a big communication, like talking out loud, talking things through is something that I really enjoy just in like every aspect. And then probably quality time. It's just like spending time with the people that you love and care about is the best thing. It doesn't even matter what you're doing, obviously. And that's kind of kind of cliche answer, but I feel like it's something that we all relate to. So
Yeah,
Totally.
Sure.
I would definitely say quality time is in there. What's the fifth one that hasn't been said yet? It's gift giving, quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, and what?
Acts of service.
What does that mean?
It's like I'll cook
Go
you
to
dinner,
war.
or I'll
yeah,
clean your room.
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, quality time and probably words of affirmation for me as well.
yeah. My
Yeah.
girlfriend is a big acts of service. That's how she shows. She's a great cook, and she likes doing things for other people that she cares about. It's really nice. So
Aw.
Oh, that's great. Get to know when Autumn does our dishes every so often that it's because she loves us, not because she's disappointed in how big of animals we've been. Or maybe it's
I don't know if, well, yeah, I think it's more so that she loves me, not that she loves you guys. But
True.
if you want to look at it that way, yeah, she's got a lot of love to give.
I'm an extension of you.
The reason why we bring that up is, and we're going to get into all the fun stuff and everything soon, but it's something we talk about a lot on the show because as women and as people, we tend to take things personally sometimes if we're like, oh, someone's not doing this, and we internalize it as like, oh, it's because they don't love me or don't care for me the way I care for them, when in reality it just is something different. Like I know that you said, Alex, I'm getting confused to call you your nickname, but
It's okay.
That I think it was gift giving, that you appreciate it, but that it has like a different meaning for you. It's not like the end all be all. And I think that's a key thing that we kind of mix up sometimes. So that'll be interesting to know these things about you guys going into our next few fun questions that we have. So we are going to start off with dating apps. So do you guys like using dating apps for those that are single? And if so, which ones are you on?
They don't like them.
I'll do this off. I have a strong opinion on dating apps. I've
it.
used them all and I hate it. Like I found myself, I haven't had dating apps in over a year and a half, and I found myself getting like more self-conscious, and I didn't feel good about myself because like you're looking at the person and you're like, okay, hopefully they match with me. They don't match with me. It's like, what did I do wrong? Like, what's wrong with my profile? Okay, I get a match, but I don't get a reply. It's like, why am I not getting a reply? You're always just like second guessing yourself. And like, it's just a shitty feeling. And then I'd get a match and you're like, oh, this isn't the person that I wanted to match with. So it really just put me in a really weird place. And I found myself getting kind of like anxious about it. So I just deleted them all and never felt better.
I think we mentioned that we're all actors, so it's like we get told no enough, right? It's like give us some yeses here and there.
I'm also old-fashioned too. Like if I'm meeting my wife, like I don't want to meet her on a dating app, and I know that's a very common mindset, but I want a cute like fun story to like tell my kids or be able to just share with my wife.
Yeah.
First
Josh,
time. Yeah.
Josh, did you have a different opinion on it?
No, I mean, I don't have them either. I deleted them as well because, like, first of all, every photo that was getting liked of mine was like the Shrek photo I have, and I realized like I was like, fuck, I'm 15 in that photo. This is like creepy. So I was like, I don't, and I told the girl that once, and she was like, not into it. After that, she like didn't laugh about it and was like wicked awkward. So I was like, all right, this photo is like just not even really gonna pay dividends through. And it was just I just, again, like I'm old fashioned like Nick, and the way I've met previous girlfriends has been I've enjoyed the way I've met them. Like I know, and maybe it's a sense of like if I'm not good at something, I really don't like doing it. And I don't find myself to be good at just starting a conversation from scratch and doing the small talk bullshit over text. And never in my life have I been talking to a girl unless I'm dating them. If that makes sense. There's never me like, oh, I'm talking or texting to so-and-so ever. I never am texting a girl. And it's not because like, oh, no, I don't want to, or like, it's just, I never get into like a starting off kind of BS. Either I'm like full on dating them and it happens quick for me, or I'm just like, all right, I just don't bite into it, moving on. I've stopped in the past year and a half of like just trying to be casual with it. And I'm not like, these guys make fun of me all the time because like even last night I was like, oh, I want a girlfriend. Like, I just sat there like in this chair, in my pajamas, and said that, which I do, but I definitely want to meet somebody the old-fashioned way, and like I actually sit down and have our first conversations and be kind of in person, and like, and really get to know them that way, and they could look me in the face, not over some app where like I kind of look like my photos and they kind of look like theirs, and I don't even really know if I'm into this person. I'm just into 6 different photos I've seen. Their 6 best photos, like, do like I really sing Skater Boy at karaoke? No, I just think that's a funny answer. I sing Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet or Frozen, and I just didn't want to be basic, or I didn't want anyone to not know the song I was referencing. So I wanted to try to be funny. And so again, I'm on this app and I'm already fucking lying.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
at that point I was like, this is bogus.
Yeah.
Now I was saying it's bogus. It's not for me.
I also think that like in LA, it's different than any other city, right? Where like there's a lot of added pressure being out in LA for like the dating community.
Yeah.
There's always the horror stories of like LA dating is just like a whole nother ball game. Like it's because of the superficial mindset, like the next best thing, what do you do for a living, that type of stuff. I mean, obviously security is a big thing for a lot of adults. Like, you don't want someone that's not going anywhere in life, but that's kind of the mindset on like the dating apps there, where it's like they're always looking for the next best thing. And it's kind of like I don't know, like having like your dating app is like, it's like such a normal thing in LA, but it's like it's not easy to kind of have success on them unless you're a girl. I mean, girls have way more success than guys do on those dating apps because they have their pick of the litter. But
well, I'm glad like what you brought up before, Nick, about being a little self-conscious about it, because I feel like girls don't give guys enough credit for that. I think because we're so conditioned to believe that like guys only care like what you look like, that for a lot of, and I feel like there's this like stigma that like, well, if a guy's like funny or if he has like something kitschy on his profile, then like they have it so easy because they can just like write something funny and like girls are going to respond to that. But we don't give you guys enough credit that you guys are feeling the same way we're feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really polarizing because at the end of the day, everybody's feeling the same way about it.
Right.
We're all upholding the same stigmas.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The other thing is, I think a lot of girls that I've talked to that have used the apps, just say sometimes they get on those apps just for fun, like with no intention of dating at all. Like, let's just see who's out there. Let's see who can boost my confidence and likes me. Let's just like have a little fun and fuck around with people. And it's like, that's not like the guys. I mean, some guys are probably like, whatever, let's have a good time. Let me get some nudies, but it's on Hinge, like it's not like that.
Right. Definitely.
The adult chat roulette over there. Two things one thing to the LA dating thing. I also think it's LA is like, oh, LA dating is tough. I think a reason it's tough, yes, Nick's point is for sure correct. And also people are like we're out here, like I'm out here to have, like I want to have a good time, and I do have a good time with my friends. I'm out here for work. Like I didn't come here to live here. Right. I didn't come here to live here because I wanted to. If I could live wherever I wanted to live, realistically, I'd live in Austin.
100%.
Right. And if nothing else mattered, just like if I could have settled anywhere. But we originally all came out here for work and to focus and build our career. And, the three of us are working all the time on stuff. But fortunately, and, especially nowadays in the pandemic, we always have to sit down, and we always are sitting down and like reminding ourselves when things are tough, like, okay, take a step back and breathe a second. At least you have this and that going for you. And, the thing is like, you don't necessarily have time. Yeah. Like I've dated my girlfriend from high school, who y'all know, I dated her for 4 years. Then I was dating a girl like in an open relationship or whatever, that was for a year. And she's a great girl. I just don't know what to call it really. Then I was dating another girl for 2 years. And then on and off for like a bazillion after that, same girl. And the thing was, my point was, there's so much time that goes into these people. Mm-hmm. And my experience is like, I've done this so many times. Like if I'm going to date somebody, I know what it takes to at least get it to at least a few years.
Yeah.
And going and learning from the other experiences, confident I could take it a few more in the next go around. But I don't want to just date somebody for a couple months and spend a couple months to get to know them. And this could be a personal issue, maybe something that I have to look past and, just because you could just sit there and you'll never meet somebody in a sense. But in LA, you have to, especially in our age, you kind of have to be a little selfish if you want to get where you want, because I can't date somebody. I know me, I can't date somebody right now. And if things aren't going the way I want them in my career life, and they're like, all right, time for a change in 5 years when I'm 31. And I'm like, fuck that. I don't need to do that. I can continue to try to, scratch this itch and settle down another 5 years from now. You can't just like kind of trust somebody in that situation. You kind of have to be a little selfish and focus on your career. So once you get your career, hopefully to a point where you're comfortable there and can really put that time and energy into somebody else. That's why it's a little tougher in LA too, because our perspective, we're always working. We're always,
and people are always coming in and out of the city. I mean, LA there's different types of people that are in their 20s, right? Some people want to live in 3 different cities in their 20s, maybe more. And, there are a lot of people that are coming to LA to do that for 2 years and then bounce after that, right? Then they want to go to New York, they want to go to Chicago, they want to go abroad. And again, like what Josh is saying, like we all moved here for a specific reason. I think like that makes it really hard, especially because like a lot of the people that are here for that same specific reason are like what Nick was talking about, where they're like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Yeah.
Definitely. I love what Josh said before about a little bit ago about like just over in general saying something over some sort of message. Like you don't feel like knowing you, Josh, in the even in the ways that I know you, regardless of what's changed over the past few years, like you have a very specific energy. And I feel like that's very hard for like someone to read over a text message, to get your
like sense of humor. Like if you don't know someone's vibe, like how are you going to get there?
Totally. And also kind of going off of what Nick said with like the whole intention thing is, people do go on apps and you have no idea what they're looking for, what they actually mean, any of those things. So that could be super, super conflicting. But being that you guys mentioned being in your 20s, I know something that a lot of women in their 20s start to feel pressure about is like, I know this is like a big question, but it just made me think about it with like getting married or like ending up with someone. Like, is that something that you guys worry about? Like finding your person sooner?
I mean, for me, like my parents had me when they were 20 years old. My mom was 20, my dad was 21. So like I've already kind of beat them out and like the whole family stuff. I mean, they're not together anymore. They were never married. It was just like a young relationship. But I think having that perspective like makes me realize like I can wait a little bit, like I have the freedom to actually take my time with it and make sure it's the right person. But yeah, I mean, coming up on 26 years old, like ideally, in the perfect world, I'd be married and have a kid already by the time I'm 30. Like that's like what I would, I'd envision for myself. But I'm not going to force anything, because what Josh said earlier about having a career, that's the most important thing, because not just for me, but, I don't want to be selfish towards my family either. Like I want to be able to support them. I want to give a kid, the life that I want him to have for her. It's one of those things where it's a big family thing that comes, out of the work ethic that you put into it.
It's definitely a scary aspect. I mean, like, again, like Nick brings up the point that I was really kind of chalking in my head, in the sense that like, there's still things on the table for me to deal with. If I have a kid, everything has to go to that kid. I mean, we've all, had our parents, I could say honestly, and y'all two know all four of y'all know my parents at this point, but like they sacrifice to the nth degree, and I want to be able to do the same. And I know if I have other things that I need to take care of in order for me to look back at my life and be like, okay, you know what, the thumbs up, whether not monetary, it just basically if I gave the maximum effort to somebody and saw it to a good point, I need to be able to at least do that before I can give my entire life to a wife and then kids, or a partner and then kids. And that's that aspect. I mean, but it's definitely a scary thing that you think about. I mean, as an artist, like, you think of, will I ever get to a point where I can provide the way I want to provide and have the 4 kids I want to have and have the wife I want to have and be able to give everything to them? I'll tell you straight up, I would say my biggest fear in anything is with my friends, with my family, with future family. My biggest fear is like to disappoint somebody because you can't give enough, because you're still you can't help but be selfish because there's something inside you as an artist that you can't explain. You just need to get it done and need to take care of it, need to see it through to a point, and you can't fully focus on the people you need to focus on. I just can't put other people in that position. It's too selfish, and I cannot. If I know that I'm going to disappoint somebody or have even like the slightest bit of chance of disappointing somebody, I really try to avoid the situation. And so like marrying somebody, and don't get me wrong, I want my parents to have grandkids. I want my sisters to be aunts. I want all that. I want other people to have like a good experience off of my experience. And I want to have a family. I want daughters, and I want a great wife. I want all the good stuff, but you can't, there has to be you have to do it when the time is right. You can't just, that's not something you could fuck around with.
I think that's the artist in you speaking, obviously, because I mean, as actors, we all know that we're our own worst critic, right? And I think it comes to a point where, you know, you're going to have to come to terms with the fact that at some points you are going to disappoint people, you know, at some points you are going to feel rejection, but you just got to kind of work past that and, you know, see, you know, what you learn from those experiences. You brought up a good point though with your dad. You know, I know that you have a great relationship with your family. And I think as humans, like I think the human nature in us, we always want to do better than our parents, right? Where it's like, we want to provide for our kids.
The same, yeah,
or at least the same, at least match it, right? You don't ever want to half-ass it. You don't want to be less than what your parents did, right? Because my dad always told me, he goes, the reason why I let you play football, the reason why I let you put you on all these sports is because I wanted to give you the life I didn't have when I was a kid. My dad didn't let me play football, and like he didn't, you know, it wasn't like as deep, but it was like he was basically trying to say like I'm trying to do better than my dad. Now his dad didn't do a bad job. I mean, they have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with my grandfather too, but you know, I think as humans, we always try to, you know, go a step above and beyond than our parents did, or at least match it. And you know, Josh has some big shoes to fill because his parents are very involved in his life, and they're awesome. You know.
Yeah, they are awesome.
It's all their fault.
But it's interesting, you know, when you talk about it, and then like in relation to, because I'm an actor as well, so like in relation to when you're thinking about dating, like what kind of person you're looking for, because as an artist, like Josh said, like we're always going to be making sacrifices. Like I will never be the mom that gets to go to every single soccer game. Like I know that that's not something I'm going to be able to do if I want to keep pursuing my career. But it's interesting, and it's something that I learned really recently about like when you're dating, having those conversations early on, that you're on the same page about that stuff. And like I use this rock and kite example with Brenda, but like I always thought for myself that like I needed to be with someone who was like a rock, who would like hold down the house so that I could like go and fly and like do my thing and like come back and they'd be there. And like I realized as I matured that, and that might be the dynamic for someone. Like I know that that's Brenda's dynamic and that works great, but like for me, like I need someone that's also a kite, that's like gonna fly with me, and like and it's gonna be, sometimes it's their time and sometimes it's my time. And I just think it's, as you get older, you kind of start to see what kind of dynamic you really want in a relationship. And the biggest thing I learned is that a kite can't lift a rock, and it could try all it wants, but it can't. And you really have to be on the same page with your person about like what kind of life you're gonna lead. And I think, you know, it feels scary to bring up those conversations when you're just dating someone or you're just meeting someone, but like, why waste the time?
Right.
Like, at least be on the same page.
And sometimes I think it's a double-edged sword. You got to be careful, because when you have two kites, you know, when you have two artists, actors, performers, you know, there sometimes gets that competitive nature, right? Where it's like, okay, like you're booking all these jobs, but I'm not, or vice versa. You feel bad because you're booking the jobs and your, you know, significant other's not. You know, you got to make sure that there's never any competition between you two, because you're a team, you know, at the end of the day. But I do definitely agree with you. I've had conversations, you know, when I've gone on dates, and like, I want to make it clear that like, look, I'm an actor, I'm a podcaster, like I'm an entertainer, like this is what I do. And like, I just need support. You know, I don't want someone who's going to be unsupportive and doesn't understand, right? Like when me and Josh were working at the restaurant, I had a girl leave her number for me, and I texted her. And I texted her, and I basically told her like, hey, like, you know, my schedule is kind of wonky. Like, you know, I work at night at John and Vinny's, and I'm an actor by day. And she had a 9 to 5, and she's like, nope, that's not going to work. Yeah. She knew right away that wasn't going to work. And like, it's fine, you know, like it's
kind of smart, because it's like, what's the point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Literally the only time we'd have together would be on the weekends, and that's if she doesn't want to hang out with her friends, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the kite and rock thing.
Yeah,
I will say though, sometimes we're kites, sometimes we're rocks. It can be it can be both.
Yeah. So that analogy could be a whole nother podcast. Like we could talk about that for a really fucking long time because I have a lot of theories on that.
I do think that like it's good to map out what you want, but it's Brando in the background. I think it's good to know what you want, but I also think it's good to like add some perspective to your own thoughts sometimes and know that you don't necessarily know what you want, and that like a lot of times you have to like grow into something, and you also like you can expect something to happen, you can expect it to go this way, but it never does.
Yeah.
So you can think like you might think you're a kite and you're actually a rock. Like you don't even necessarily know. I'm not saying you are, Julia, but I'm just saying like generally, and I don't think it doesn't mean that like opposites don't attract, because they certainly do, but it doesn't mean that people that are alike can't be together. Like it's just a case by case basis. But I think it's interesting, at least for me and Nick, and talking a little bit about just like each one of us. I'm currently in a relationship that's gone longer than a year. Nick has been in at least one relationship that I know that went longer than a year, potentially more. But there's like an interesting like society. Wrong. It was shy of a year.
10 months. That was my only relationship.
Close, right?
We'll give it a year.
Close. It was close. But I think that even still, like, there's some interesting societal like pressures, whether we're listening to them or not. Like, they're definitely around us, especially growing up in Texas, where a majority of my pledge brothers now at this point are like starting to get married. Like, I have 5 friends this year that are getting married. So, and it's the complete opposite in LA. Like, I don't know any of our friends who are married in LA. That are our age. So it's interesting how parts of the country can really affect timing. Personally, I'm great. I'm so grateful to be out in LA for that like pressure to be off me and my girlfriend. Yeah. But like,
I pressure all my friends to get married or some way or another.
The Southern mentality is like a whole nother ball game. I mean, like growing up in Texas, like I've been to 3 weddings within the calendar year, and I'm going to a bachelor party in March, and like there's another wedding happening in February, and they're all like my really close friends too. So it's definitely like a little bit of a pressure, but at the same time, like you take an outside perspective and you're like, okay, like I'm kind of still, thriving in my youth. Like I'm enjoying my youth. Like I could see from the outside, like how that marriage looks. It looks great, but like not for me right now.
Yeah. I'm glad. Sorry, but I was just going to say, I'm glad that like, we actually didn't talk about like me and Brenda's dynamics either, but like I feel like we're all coming from very different experiences, which is great. Like Alex being in a relationship, Josh have being single but had long-term relationships. I just got out of a 4-year relationship which I was living with my partner, and now I'm single again. Brenda's been in a 9-year relationship, and like you're single
Brenda, that's
well.
wild.
So like but I love that like we all 5 of us have very different experiences on just like in general. But Brenda, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say that I'm hope it doesn't come off the wrong way, but I'm so impressed with like, I think we have these judgments a lot of times towards literally like men and generalize that, oh, like they don't get deep. They don't have these deep conversations, but like the way that you guys are talking about all these things and reflecting. And I'm just like, I'm just very impressed, I guess. Maybe it's our energy, Julia. Maybe we just like force people to get real and
bring out the real and raw. That's what we do.
Like, as a trio, we do it on our own together. I mean, we definitely have talks like this by ourselves. And I think, us 3 guys have kind of, taken away that masculinity sometimes that like is put on males, but we definitely know how to get deep with each other and, have heart to hearts. And I think it's coming, to a lot of guys our age. I think our friend group is pretty open with, our love lives and what's going on. And I think that's a very important thing because I mean, especially with, mental health and things that happen in our country and in the world these days, the added pressure, it's good to talk things out, especially if you're a man. I mean, it's, I don't want to hide behind male, persona.
I feel like we all had a chance to get pretty reflective in the last 10 months, right? Like if you weren't comfortable with being with your own thoughts, like you kind of had to be. So It's also just like the fact that the three of us are actors. I know that for me personally, like that's helped me get in touch more with like my own emotions and like how I feel about certain things and not being shy to show them. Again, like we were in fraternities at Texas where it's like the exact opposite. It's crazy, but for us to know both of those sides and like have that be part of our identity as well is like, I think it's really valuable for all of us.
It was, and then it wasn't though. I was like always I was always the more emotional one of my friends at school for sure. But my friends, rather than me staying there and them staying over here, everyone caught up eventually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the guys I know, and granted, a lot of for Nick's is similar. Toss's fraternity is mostly Texas guys. Mine was like half and half. Mine was like half out of state, half.
Josh and I both were the two Jewish fraternities in Texas.
We're the two Jewish fraternities. So half in state, half out of state. And I don't know if that was a difference or anything, but a lot of people were just, eventually you got more open. And there's like there's talks like, there's points in the pandemic where there's points where like you get into the real world and you're doing a job and you go, wait a second, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Making money is not the end all be. I have a lot of friends who are making a fuck ton of money and they were like, this is not the end all be all. I'm out. I'm going to do something different. And what they're doing, and it's similar to like what, honestly, it's what we were, it's something we've done in the past and I've done in the past, and sometimes it's just, your happiness is more than just the Benjamins, and guys realize when you step out into the real world, and it's not just like, who'd you bang that weekend? How drunk did you get? And don't get me wrong. We've had the stories I have from college. Y'all, they're hilarious, but it gets these.
And you have to have those experiences sometimes.
Oh, I wouldn't change it for the world. But the point being is like, the experience in real life opens you up more, and you either clam up or you open up. And fortunately, a lot of guys we know, a lot of our friends, a lot of my friends from school, and we all have all our friends intermingle, have grown to be pretty open people. And I think that comes from like the workforce and just having responsibility. And you either clam up and just let it weigh down and you talk about it. And I think it's our generation in a sense as well. A lot of people are taking bigger risks and trying to break the mold and trying to taking a chance on yourself is just like a huge MO of like people our age. So I think that's a reason that people are being open, because they want to share what they're really thinking for once.
Yeah, for sure. It's so cool to hear you guys talk about this. And I want to ask Alex a question about being in a longer term relationship right now, because I have been in a long-term relationship. And I think, especially hearing from each of us, obviously we're very shaped by our own experiences, whether it's what we witnessed growing up with our parents, or just, I don't know, in media, whatever it is, like we're very shaped by our own experiences. So I find that, not to generalize, a lot of men that I know have such an easier time than I do, or a lot of female friends that I have, with like letting go, like not putting so much weight in a certain moment. And I'm just like curious as to how your thoughts are on that. Like, do you ever find yourself overthinking as men, a situation, or putting a lot of weight in a moment? Because I think I personally, I do. So I'm just curious to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I am like a thinker through and through. Like I generally, I'm like an analyzer. Like I like to like get analytical about things and break them down. A lot of times introspectively, also like with other people as well. I think that's part of the reason why I really enjoy the podcast, and with us, when it's something when something you like talking about, like sports for us, like we can do it all day long. We do it anyway when we're not on the mic. Letting go. I think that it's something that, I think that, for me, and it's something that like I was thinking about earlier when we were talking about the 5 different types of love languages, but quality time is a really interesting one to me, because I think that quality time to yourself is just as important as quality time with someone else. Yeah. And so the reason why I bring that up is because like, I think letting it go, part of that is like, to me, is letting me be with myself. And sometimes that's away from my girlfriend. So that when I am with her, that like, I'm always there and I'm always like I'm in that moment, and that quality time is real, and it's not anywhere else, right? And I think that like with quarantine, it's been really hard because like there have been stretches, I'm sure, for couples that live together where like they're always with each other. And so I imagine in those instances, like a third party coming in, if they were to give any advice, you'd be like, hey, why don't you just go on a walk by yourself without your partner and just like see what happens? And like you're bickering about something and then come together and like you figure it out. So I think for me, it's like letting go becomes a lot easier when you know like why you're letting go. If you're letting go, then come back and figure out whatever you were arguing about or fighting about.
No, that's really helpful. Thank you. I think that the reason why I asked that, and I love that you said that you are like analytical, is because I am too. And I think sometimes it takes effort to separate like thoughts that are productive and like help build you up or help you think more deeply into something, and thoughts that are destructive. But you guys already have been so awesome, and we just have so many questions that I think to do like some rapid fire. So because there's all of you, maybe we like ask some rapid fire questions in all different areas, and then each of you answer one, or the best one liner you can give.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Just if we're all answering, give us an order now so we know.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go Josh, Nick, Alex.
Cool.
Got it.
And Alex, remember, you can opt out.
Yeah.
Okay.
The girlfriend pass it.
Opt-out clause after 2 years for you.
They're not crazy.
No, they're really not.
Yeah. So when you're getting to know, we'll start with this one. When you're getting to know somebody, like let's say you've been on a couple dates, how often do you like to be texting? Are you texting every day? Or are you texting a couple times a week? What's like the ideal when you're like not yet in a relationship, but you've been on a few dates, you're getting to know each other?
Maybe like FaceTime me once a week.
Okay.
Don't text me. Right now I have 5. I literally have 411 unread texts. Don't text
Josh
me.
is the fucking worst with his texts.
Oh wow. Don't text him.
Don't text him.
For me, like I don't, if I'm just getting to know someone, like I don't like being inundated with messages. I like doing it on my own time, which is selfish, but like that's how like everyone I feel like wants it, right? It's like you want to talk to the person when you want to talk to them, not when they want to talk to you. It's like when you're feeling things out.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you guys say that, because I think a lot of times people take someone not answering personally. Do you think that not being interested in responding to someone's text message is a reflection of how you do or don't like feel about talking to them, or it's just like texting isn't your thing?
I think it's I think it's a reflection of, no, you're fine. I think it's a reflection of the person's own individual prioritization of whatever they do. So it probably isn't personal at all, but like if I'm talking to someone for the first time and I have work, guess which one takes the priority? Like work does, because it's more important. Like I have to make a living. So I think for me, that's how that kind of plays out.
Even like us, like we talk, the three of us something happens in sports, we talk. Something happens, we talk. Something happens at work, we talk. Texting all day, right? And there's times one of us will shoot like 7 texts in a row. The other 2 won't respond for a little bit. And guess what? That's okay, because that's not personal.
Yep.
They're just busy with something else. Me, Alex, and the guy you saw, Nick's roommate, we talk, and the 3 of us are in a text chain together. It's just strictly basketball. And I am like 10 messages behind because I had to FaceTime my cousin. She got in law school. I had to FaceTime her. I had to get like 5 minutes in the 6 string in. I had like things I had to just do. I had some work I had to do. And guess what? I don't think Toss and Brando are like, fuck Josh. We're no longer going to talk basketball with him.
Of course. No, not at all.
Yeah.
What was
from a girl's perspective though, like girls get so hung up on that. Girls like, he didn't text me back for like 6 hours. He doesn't like me. And it's like, no, he might just be busy.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys are like affirming that, because that's a stigma for sure.
Definitely. And we can start with you, Nick, for the next one, since we got that perspective. Do you guys actually like the chase, or like when girls play hard to get? You could start.
I think I used to. It's like it was like a thing where it's like, you know, you want what you can't have.
Yeah.
like in the back of my mind, it's always like there because it's like, you know, you want to be up for the challenge and you want someone that will challenge you. But I mean, I think like there's a way to do it. Like, don't play games, you know, like don't like if you're actually interested, like don't be like, all right, you know, I'm gonna wait a day to text him, or like, or I'm gonna send him like some like cryptic message or something. It's just like just be straightforward with me, you know, like if you actually are interested, like let me know. If you want to like go on these dates, let me know. If you don't want to do it, then let me know. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like lay all your cards on the table right away. You don't have to, you know, tell me you love me and that you want to have my babies. But I mean, like, come on, let's be real. We're heading into our 30s within the next 5 years. Like, it's time to get real.
Yep.
I like the hard to get in the sense that it's like when they're from a sexual standpoint. If I'm hooking out with a girl and I bring her home the first night and she don't give me, if she, I hate I have a rule and it's like, all right, because rules are meant to be broken. And I know you've broken that rule because I know it's not a rule. I know that's just straight bullshit. I know because I know you've broken it because I know you've made it a rule because so it's not a rule because I know you've done that in the past and that's why it's a rule now. But if a girl is just like, no, not tonight, our relationship to me is way more likely. The last couple girls I've dated, the last two I've dated really, I hooked up with them on the first night, but I didn't sleep with them. I didn't have sex with them the first night. Right. And so, and then some of them I didn't have sex with for a bit. And I actually got to know the person. So when I ended up having sex with them for the first time, it was great, you know, versus like a one night stand, which could be like, sometimes doesn't mean anything. And just like so meaningless. And it's like, all right, I did the thing. And all of a sudden, like now I'm just like, less interested versus like I'm actually interested in this person and the sex is dope, but it's not like the end all be all of the moment, right? Because you've gotten to know the person and now it's just like a great bonus. So that part, if they're serious about that and they kind of get that aspect of it, that I'm into. Now I don't have a steadfast rule because sometimes you can't, I'm not going to say no, like every time. I'm not gonna be like, you know what? No, I don't do it on the first date because then I may not get another shot either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Nick, you bring up, fuck these games. If you don't want to go on a date with me, fucking tell me. That's cool. Guess what? Because there's times I don't want to go out with people and I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah. And that's how it just should be. You know, we can't go around tiptoeing around other people's feelings because then you get into like the head games of like, you're trying to like, okay, she said this, maybe that means that maybe she is into me, but she's playing this game. And you know what? I actually have a shot, but maybe I should wait a couple days and then see if she like puts up something to try to get my attention. Or maybe if she doesn't, then she's definitely not interested in me. Okay. Like what is, you know, like, and you're just like kind of like getting creepy with yourself and creepy with them. And it's just like this whole like weird circle of like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
What are we actually doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah. A good thing, Josh, that was actually one of our questions for you guys is how do you feel about sex on the first date? Like, is it something, what are your thoughts? We heard Josh's opinion.
I think, you know, I'm kind of with him in the sense that like, I think if I really, really, really like someone, like if it's the first date, I'm like, wow, this girl like could be my wife. Like because like guys like have that feeling when they're like, wow, like this could be the one, you know, like everyone has that feeling.
Oh yeah.
I think that I'm reluctant to like have sex with them on the first night. Now, I mean, there's sometimes when it gets too hot to handle, you know, like where you can't help yourself. And like, if the feeling is mutual and one thing leads to another, I mean, it can get hot and heavy and then, you know, can turn into something really, you know, really nice. You never know. So there's definitely two truths to that answer. But I think more times than not, I find myself liking the girl more if we don't have sex on the first night.
I have a question about that though.
Yeah.
Is it because then you take the time to know her, or is it because like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, are you taking the time to know her because you're wanting to get to that and then you realize, oh, I really like this girl, and are you not taking the time to get to know her if you have had sex on the first date? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think there's like some truth behind that for sure. And I think for me, it's like, well, I think for a lot of guys, it's like, okay, if it's not a relationship, if it's not like marriage, like what's the goal here?
Right.
The goal is sex, right? And if it's achieved on the first night, then there's not really much more like you can go from that. I mean, like obviously if she blows me away with her personality, then like, okay, we're moving some boulders here. But
I thought that was going in a different direction.
I know, me too.
I was gonna,
Nick.
if she blows me, then yeah, we're all fucking in, baby. Line them up.
I mean, I think that like there's like a hookup culture. So like for us socially, like going out in college and stuff, like, and that translated a little bit. Obviously, like we're not that far removed from college, right? It was a thing that at least some of my friends would like go out to try and hook up with girls. And that was never really like, it never really resonated with me for one reason or another. I think like I didn't answer that last question, but my answer is I don't really play the game very much because I'm not that good at playing it. Like that's not, I don't think that that's like an attractive quality of mine. If I were to like be a third party looking in, I would say like I'm a good converser. Like I like talking to people. I like getting to know them. And like that to me is more fun than like the kind of like cat and mouse back and forth sort of sexy little game that people, I'm just bad at it. I'm just bad at it.
Yeah,
so
it's fake as fuck.
But I think that like, yeah, I think that there's a hookup culture. And I think that a lot of guys specifically, like Nick's talking about, go into that moment where, you've brought a girl back and like, there's somewhat of rightly or wrongly, there's some sort of expectation sometimes. And sometimes when it gets shattered, when that expectation gets shattered, it gives you some perspective. You're like, oh, this is different. Why is this different? Let me investigate further. And then you end up liking it.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
For sure.
I think also like at the end of the day, when it comes to the games, when it comes to sex on the first date or whatever, like if it's meant to be something longer term, like it's gonna be. Like it doesn't matter what game you play or don't play, when you have sex or not have sex. Like if you really have a genuine connection with someone, and I personally believe like if it's meant to be, like it's gonna be, no matter how you play those things.
Yeah.
For a long-term thing. Like for a short-term thing that's not really going to last long, those things might matter a little bit, but in the long term, like the real thing, no matter how you do it, it's going to work out if it's really meant to be.
I also think like sex on the first date has to be contextualized too, because it's like,
right.
There's a difference between There's a difference between going on a date with someone, taking them to dinner, and then hooking up with having sex with them after the fact.
Right.
It's totally different than going to a party with a bunch of your friends, meeting a girl there, and then having sex with her.
That's what I'm saying. That's
it's so different, so vastly different.
Or if you've known someone for a really long time and you have a really good friendship, and then it takes the step to, a physical relationship or a romantic relationship.
My point maybe then goes to like the bars and the party, because I was thinking about like, if you like, think about like sex and like, okay, so like the best sex you ever had, and then you look at the worst. And the best sex is from people I know or have gotten to know or dated, versus the worst sex is from people I met at bars. And honestly, I know this is going to sound like I was bound to sound like an asshole at some point, so I guess here it goes. It's like, I don't even know their names. Straight up. I could think of like 7, 8 girls maybe that I've had sex with. Like I could picture their faces. I do not know their names. And now I feel like an a-hole. Clearly, to my point, didn't get the time to know them. And it wasn't good for me.
To your credit, you might have known their name that night. At the time. You don't need more, but you might have at the time.
Might have.
Just give some more credit.
And to make me like, to bring me back down on that, it's like, it wasn't good for me. Definitely wasn't good for them. That is just that is, you know what I'm saying? That I can fucking, I'm man enough to admit. So, so at that point, it's no fun for anybody. Right. And you're just trying to get notches in the bedpost to be like, to like show up to, and it was in college when we'd have Friday brunch at the fraternity house, and we go out Thursday night, and all like 30 of us are sitting at the table, and it's like, oh, what happened last night? Like, dude, like all this,
it's like,
Maggie Mays, and then I bought her a drink, and then we went into like the Uber, but there was no Uber, so we got into some random pickup truck for $20. We went home and we had sex for 30 seconds, and it's like, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? That's like, and at that point, it's cool for the morning, but then after that, you're like, fuck, dude, like I didn't get to know that girl. I'll never see that girl maybe again, because I didn't take the time to really, try to like make moves and really, when I dated my old girlfriend, she stayed over, didn't have sex on the first night. she ended up staying in my room and talking to me till 3 PM. And the only reason we stopped is because I had to go pick up my roommate from jail.
Good. That's how everybody's stories go.
I also think party like hookups, bar hookups, same thing. You don't get the best representation of someone when they're really fucking drunk.
Oh yeah, like slap
True.
as fuck.
But and same for girls too. Like if a girl is going home with someone from a bar, like they're probably not looking, for you to be their boyfriend either. Like it's the same. It goes both ways.
Not to discredit those experiences either, because they're
some of them are dope. Some of them have been dope. I don't mean to I'm just saying the couple that haven't been dope, the general through line is that though.
Yeah, we knew they weren't going the distance, but good learning lessons.
Great learning lessons.
That's what we're here for. We're here to learn.
And you know what you said before, Josh, about it's just kind of like another notch on the bedpost. Also, what we talk about all the time is people just looking for connection. And even if it's just momentary connection, it serves that purpose for that. And, everything has its purpose. So
every experience is a good one.
Yeah. So what is the sexiest thing a girl can do outside of the bedroom?
Their faces.
I gotta think about it, honestly.
She smiles.
Smiles? That's beautiful.
That's so sweet.
Like a girl with
Dude, I see so many people smile every day. What are you
saying? But no, there's a certain there's
Josh is constantly turned off.
Genuine.
If there's a girl who's got really big eyes and a really pretty smile and she kind of knows
Julia!
That's why I've kept Julia around all these years, locate. No, but there's a big eyes and and she kind of knows it, and she's a little bubbly in that sense, then that's
driving me.
I know, kind of like Julia. But what I was saying was that is nice, but the sexiest thing that someone can do was to me, it's sexy is
outside, not really sex.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think I like it when they wear my shirts, when they're walking around and there's they're wearing their little they're wearing underwear, their booty shorts, and they're walking around in my oversized Red Sox tee.
Yeah,
that's too big for them.
So hot.
Yeah, I'm speaking for. No, I don't think this is a personal answer, and I think that's always so cute and sexy to me. And then they're just walking around the house, or when they're on a cooler level. Last thing I'll say on it, I love it when my girl is friends with my friends.
Yeah, that's really valuable.
We talk about it all the time. It is so imperative. I mean, even I like when my girlfriends are friends with my guy friends. You know what I'm saying? Jules, when you came to visit, I like that you were friends with my friends. Yeah. It's important to me that my sister is friends with my friends, or wants to be. Not forcing them, but it's important to me. When I have a girl, that's huge. That is massive for me. She has to like my friends, and they have to like her.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I do think, Josh, I liked your first answer. I think that a look outside of a sexy situation, not a smile, because that's everyone's smiles, but a look where only a look that what they mean, but no one else knows.
That's a good one.
That sort of thing is when you're just, and it's kind of just you just are on the same connective wavelength, mentally, you just are in the same place. That sort of thing is, it's pretty, that's sexy for sure. Both your answers were good though. I think the t-shirt, that's a great look. It's a great look.
Yeah.
Anytime my girlfriend makes me laugh, I truly makes me a lot of times we chuckle and stuff like that. But if she really gets me, and something that she does really makes me laugh, gutturally, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that answer.
Yeah.
That's so good. Nick?
So there's two. So the first one being, I like a woman in power.
Love it.
I always find myself attracted to the manager of the restaurant, or the owner or something, bad bitch, who's got her shit together, who is running shit. You know what I mean? that's definitely one of the sexiest things. And like, I think that type of person, will challenge me. And that's like, honestly, one of the biggest things that I want, like I want to be challenged, not like a hard to get kind of challenge thing we were just talking about, but like to challenge,
100%.
Challenge to be a better person. That's like
100,000%. Yeah.
But my number one thing that I find sexy is a woman's desire to be a mother.
Oh my God, I was not expecting that.
Like she legitimately, like that's all she cares about. Like she wants to be a mom, and like I find moms sexy. Like not like not like 4-year-old moms. Like yeah, I can appreciate an older woman, but someone that like actually really cares for their kids and like wants to be a mom and like really like is excited for that.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't, again, like another one I didn't, because you gave like that smile, and maybe it's because we were all giggling. I know that Nick has like a smile, like a DV, his gets really wide, and I thought he was gonna say something goofy, but that was like really sweet.
No, those are really good.
I love it.
Alex, yeah, one of them were like kind of similar to mine, I will say. Like I love like a lot of the girls I dated, like they would always do like some kind of thing with their face, and I won't do any of them because it's personal. That would like,
as if you can mock them.
No, but they would like do something with their face, like like they would like for example, like it's none of these are them, like a wink, like a special kind of wink to you, to kind of like let you like know that hey, I'm still here.
Yeah,
it's just to know like if we really wanted to, I know we're in a crowd of people, but if we really wanted to, it could just be us, kind of like facial.
Gosh, this is so beautiful, you guys. But seriously, we've had so many guests on the podcast, and we talk a lot about confidence here, and a lot of things that come up is that confidence is one of the sexiest things that people can see in women. So that kind of goes along with the thing you said about power. But now that we talked a little bit about outside the bedroom, what's one thing you wish every girl would do in the bedroom? I know your faces. Don't worry, we're getting away from this topic really shortly.
Yeah, we're almost over.
Honestly, like there's nothing like you don't want to be an asshole and like force anything ever. So like whatever she's comfortable with, I'm cool with. But I mean, if everyone was cool with it,
I know where this is going.
I don't know, like play with the booty a little bit. That's better.
I knew it was going there.
In honesty, we love honesty.
Yeah,
we don't have to go like all the way, but
that's interesting because a lot of guys I feel like are definitely not into that.
A lot of guys are.
No, totally, 100%. But I
maybe it's the stigma, Julia.
No, yes, I agree. But no, that's a good one.
No, what kind of guys you hang around with?
Truthfully, like whatever they're comfortable with, because like that's the biggest thing that like is important in the bedroom, is making sure that it's consensual and that someone is feeling comfortable.
They call it the South for a reason, baby. I had to. I think I like foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like, nothing wrong. Sometimes you just tear the clothes off, but like really just really building a pace to it and not rushing anything.
Yeah.
That I feel like a lot of girls are down with that. So I don't feel like that's like too, other than that, I'm pretty easygoing. I'm like, all right, you want to do this? Like, there's really no limit. There's really nothing I would say no to, except a certain, I don't think I could come back from like getting like pegged or anything. But outside of that, I'm just being, you said it, y'all, like honestly, I'm just saying outside of that, I'm pretty down. I'm pretty like open to whatever. I'm not a kid anymore. So I won't like, I'm not, come on, like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I've kind of grown out of that. So
yeah.
Toss.
No, I think you guys, I think all of y'all will, maybe not, maybe you won't agree with me on this, but I think that the general stigma, like that things that happen in the bedroom, you should be like, society should be okay with everyone getting a mulligan, not like in public, but like in places that are semi-public. So like that it's okay to like to want someone in a place that's not your own bedroom is what I'm saying. is I think it should be, everyone should be okay with that. And I think it should be like an unwritten rule that everyone understands. I'm not saying like on the beach, like in front of everyone, broad daylight, but like, yeah, I think that I'm a fan of not like, you don't need to resist any of that because of where you are.
Love
that sort
answer.
of type.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Yeah.
Craziest place y'all have ever had sex in then? Like most open place.
The rooftop of your apartment.
No, we can't. That would be dangerous. That'd be very dangerous.
No, arch.
Oh, your old apartment? Oh yeah. You guys both partook in that.
What's wrong
No,
with that roof?
That was not.
Nothing.
No, I was not. Nothing's wrong with that roof anymore.
It's just seen a lot of action, I think, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Um,
No, I also think that another thing, because that was kind of a weak answer, but like I think that like the mutualistic aspect of it, and I think Nick, you were kind of like alluding to that, but like letting both parties like get theirs. You know what I mean? Like not like it doesn't have to be. I don't like the one-sided stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be.
Yeah, I think the issue is that people get, they get afraid of voicing what they really want, and in fear of like looking weird to their sexual partner, right? Like they don't want to feel judged because they don't know like if that's going to be accepted. Yeah. But I think that if everyone kind of just tears down their walls like in the bedroom and be like, look, this is what I like. Like, I mean, it's different than what you like, or maybe it's the same as what you like. I think people would be happy. I mean, I think people would actually be like, oh wait, this is actually cool. Like we can actually have some fun because like I'm not afraid to like voice what I actually want. Like, I don't know. I've had people tell me like, look, this is what I like. I'm like, all right, let's give it a fucking shot.
Makes it 10 times easier. You don't go to Subway and be like, I'll have a sandwich, and you go, what do you want on? You go, like tell them. You want an Italian BMT? Hold the salami. Thank God. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. That's what I'm saying.
And I think like everyone would be lying if they didn't say that like their partner getting off, it like gets them off. Like it's all connected.
Way rather the girl have fun,
right?
Than me have fun for sure.
Yeah.
Then I have fun too.
Exactly.
I think we've all had this question come up in the bedroom, and it's probably the most standard question there is what do you want? Right? Or like, what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And like the worst answer you can give is, I don't care. Like, tell me, like, let me do it.
100%. Yeah. We had a sex therapist on, Dr. Holly Richmond. She's amazing. And we asked like, what is good sex? And she's like, there's only two things you need for good sex, and it's pleasure and consent. And that's it. And I like what you said before, Nick, like, it's silly to not have the conversation because like, why would we not want to have the best sex we could possibly have? Like if you're doing it, you might as well be doing it the best way, or the way that you want to in that moment. So I think that, people are obviously getting more comfortable with those conversations. Also, as we get older, I guess it gets more comfortable as you're more experienced, but like, why not just have the conversation? Why not just say what you want? Because then it's just more fun for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that the whole stigma thing that you guys are alluding to, like, yes, we're having although some of us are like giggling and smiling at a lot of points, like we're having a pretty open conversation about all this stuff. And I don't think that's very common, which is why that translates to a lot of relationships, and people get afraid to be rejected, or what if they think this is weird, or like, I don't actually know if I even want that. Should I try it and see, and like form an opinion, like all these different things that run through our heads, but which is like the whole purpose of our podcast, is having these types of open conversations just leads to some more understanding and connection and everything. So we appreciate it.
I mean, sex is like food, you never know until you try it.
There it is, quote of the podcast. But it's true. It's what we were talking about before, when it's as serious as who you might marry, or as simple as the way you're having sex, like, that is the point of the show. And like Josh said before, it's like, if you start the conversation, people are going to come and meet you. And that's like the biggest thing you could do, is be vulnerable when you want others to be vulnerable, and hopefully they'll come along for that ride. So I'm glad we're having these chats. We have a couple more questions for you guys. Do you guys have time? I know we're like way over.
You're cool. You're
done. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Honest answer. Are you making judgments about, like, what kind of judgments are you making, if you're making any, about a woman who is posting more risque things on social media? Like, let's say it's a lot of bikini pics or lingerie pics. Do you have stigmas about that? What's the thoughts?
I'll lead it off.
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm good with it. I mean, like I said, like, love your body, and show it off if you have it. If that's what makes you happy, then do it. I mean, there's definitely a tasteful way to do it. I mean, don't be like super slutty about it, and basically post an OnlyFans and try to make money off of it. But yeah, I'm for it.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that I'm not for it. I just like, do I inevitably sometimes make judgments? Sure. So I'm just based off of things that I see. Am I like, I'm not like investigating because it's just on the feed. But if someone's like, oh, a couple of times, I'm like, this is basically all I'm getting. Like, this isn't necessarily what I want to be looking at. Like, just in general, I don't really like social media that much to begin with, but I'm all for, like, if you want to use something, like, if you want to use your body to make money, go for the OnlyFans. Like, do the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
The stuff that's like, that doesn't make as much logical sense to me, like where there's not like a real added value to it. Like, the only thing we really get from social media is other people's approval or communication out of things.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. So it's like, it's a great tool to use to talk to people about things. It's a great tool for promotion. Like, as we all know, like, it's a great place to promote your podcast. But sometimes I feel like there is like seeking of admiration or just like affection, where what else can we do? Like, I'd rather just, let me talk to you and tell you that, like, you're a great person, or like, here's an experience that we shared that I know that I'm not like thinking of anyone in general. I'm just like saying out loud, like, sometimes what I think about those kind of posts.
That's great, because I think girls maybe have more judgments on other girls for that stuff than guys actually do.
No, go ahead, Josh.
I lied. Oh, sorry, Nick, go for it.
It's funny because like girls can post like sexy pictures, and like bikinis, or like even put it on their story, and like people are like, they give them praise. Like, their friends will say, "Oh my God, my best friend's so hot," and like fire emoji. But if a guy posts like a shirtless photo of himself in the mirror, right, where he's flexing, or like he's at the gym, he looks like a fucking tool.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. What, Josh?
Yeah, depends on the guy. I think.
Yeah.
There's some guys that can get away with
Johnson
it.
can get away with it. Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Can get
Oh yeah, he can do it all he wants.
Charity Stripe boys. I don't know if we can get away with it.
I saw so what happens now sometimes is if you put out a story and someone comments, if they're trying to share the story with someone else, specifically on Instagram, and they accidentally like comment instead of sharing it. Like, Josh puts out a story and I'm like, I want to send it to Julia and be like, Julia, look what Josh just did. How stupid is he? And instead of sending it to you, I accidentally commented at Josh. I saw the other day that there was this girl who, she basically like screenshotted someone who had done this, who had like messed up, I guess, and put her on blast because the girl had like commented and said like, oh, she gained weight on a photo that she posted on her Instagram story of her and her boyfriend. So it's just like, I don't know, social media can be so toxic sometimes.
That's what you're talking about?
So damaging. Like, that's such a mean thing to say.
Because that girl is,
I know that she's a wonderful girl, and the fact that like that kind of stuff happens and we're all not like girls, 16 anymore, like it's crazy.
Girls can be fucking mean, and that's like that's also a whole nother podcast, and it's something that we talk a lot about with a lot of our guests, especially because girls are so mean, and also how damaging it is for a lot of women to feel like they have to uphold a certain, standard based on everybody else's highlight reels.
Yeah, it's so fascinating because it's really like, it really is a double-edged sword. Like, there's so many ways in which social media is destructive, and then so many ways, just like we know with our podcast or communities that are built on social media, where they're like really uplifting. So there's so many different ways to go about that. But what about like paying on the first date? What are your thoughts about that? Should it be the girl? Should it be the guy in a relationship with a man and a woman? And what about paying beyond date one?
Yeah, first date, I think I'm always paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. I'm making the attempt at least. If she wants to split it, I'm never. It's different. Like now, as my girlfriend's boyfriend, I want to pay for her like more and split less than I used to. Because now it's just like those are nice little things to do for each other.
Yeah.
But I think like prior, if she ever wanted to split, I would take it myself, and then if she offered, then I would never say no to that.
Yeah.
But it's weird because like I definitely Texan boys are definitely raised never to let a girl pay, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that you gotta, I don't know, we live in a different age.
Yeah. Josh?
Ever. I could maybe count in all the relationships I've been in, less than 10 times they paid.
That you've let someone pay.
I just can't. I don't like it. I don't know. It's just like, it's like the one thing, like I enjoy this. It makes me happy. Like, you know, I want to take you on this date. I want to bring you. If like a deeper in the line, she's like, let me get lunch. And I'll just be like, all right, whatever. There's times where I was dating somebody and we broke up, and like a year later we were just getting lunch as friends, and I still paid because I have that relationship with them. And it feels weird to me that we're splitting the bill all of a sudden. Not like, oh, I want to like win you back, and like I want to still act like we're dating. Yeah. It's like, no, we dated for so long. I'm so used to doing this, and I actually like doing this for you. Despite us now just being friends.
Yeah,
so but I always do that. I usually give my card to the waiter from the jump.
But I really do. I really do like, Alex, that you mentioned that about the splitting thing, because I think a lot of times, at least when we have conversations with our friends, I'm personally in a relationship similar to what you said, Josh, where like I can barely count. I don't even know. I've paid for like maybe 3 coffees in 9 years, maybe a breakfast on Uber Eats without him like seeing. But I love that you mentioned that, Alex, because I think a lot of our friends and stuff are like, okay, well, we're splitting the bill. Does that mean he's like not interested in me? Is that weird? Like, I think just normalizing that people have different experiences, and like it's not a reflection of how someone feels about you. And I think it's so great that you guys are offering different perspectives, because I think it inevitably makes people feel less alone.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's for me and my girlfriend, it's a finances thing. We have different finances, so we split everything. We go to the grocery store, we Venmo it in half. Like
love that.
It's just how we go about doing it. But it might be different if I were making $600K,
totally.
but I'm not. So
totally, but I think it's so important to say those things.
Not yet.
Not yet. Because a lot of people like tend to internalize that and take it personally, or because there's this idea that, oh, a man in a relationship, quote unquote, should pay, that like sometimes people, without having a conversation, like I'm sure you and your girlfriend have had, of how you guys are going to approach things, just like think about it differently.
I like that it's taking away, that because it is, especially at this age of 25, like it does have to do sometimes with finances. Like we're not all millionaires yet, and as much as someone might want to pay, like they might just not be able to every single time, like it's nice when you do once in a while, but like, I don't think guys need to feel the pressure that they have to do it every single time.
Yeah. I wish I could get past that. That's really mature, Alex. Alex's perspective is like an older perspective. I think mine's a bit more immature. That's a big reason It's a big reason I haven't tried to make that jump to date anybody yet. Because I can't.
I don't know, dude. I think it's different. People are looking for different things. Like for my girlfriend, like I think that it's important for her, like, and of course, like you're always looking out for your partner's like needs, and you want to dote on them and stuff like that. Like I find that it's very important that I value her voice and her power, just like Nick, like you're talking about, like, and I don't want to diminish that. And so that's part of my decision-making there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that like there aren't girls. I mean, it's just money. And if money's not an issue, then like, it doesn't really matter. Right. Like it only matters if you make it matter. And for us, it doesn't matter. And because we've handled it in this particular way, but I think that It doesn't, just because it's like technically like more archaic way of looking at it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah, it is. I think both ways are right. I think maybe my way is definitely more archaic, and their voice is important. I think I could look back at relationships and be like, we broke up because maybe they did something in the bigger picture, but in the smaller picture, like I've been in relationships where I never let them pick the movie, or like I rarely let them pick the TV show because they just wanted to watch junk TV or junk movies. I'm like, no, let's watch like a dope movie. You're gonna love Reservoir Dogs. Quentin Tarantino's the best. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, for me, it's great. And for like my buddies, it's great. And for people who like film, it's great. Maybe we just, maybe we want to just watch 10 Things I Hate About You,
Right. And then Mr. Pink's like bleeding out on the ground, and you're like, oh, maybe this is a bad choice. Like something like that. I do think
she's like asleep, dude. It's like, I'm like, all right, I fucking blew this. And I was selfish. And you know what? Maybe you kind of got to lose a lot of battles to win. You got to lose more battles if you want to win the war. I'm down to lose all the battles if it means winning the war with her being happy, and then me being happy being with her.
I would argue though that the guy paying more for the girl, it seems to be working, because look at all 5 of us, who's got the longest relationship and what happens there. So
that's true, Brenda. But I think it's different. I think
no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I know.
He's so cute. Brenda's boyfriend is also, he's like God sent. He's incredible. But it's different for everybody. Like, so I think like just lessening the pressure on both ends, we don't need to put so much pressure on it. But it is, of course it's nice. I think what's important is the thought, like it's nice that you want to dote on someone or want to take care of someone or want to take someone out. And same with the girl, like, I really appreciate if someone pays for the first date, but then like, I know the type of person that I am, like, I'll want to surprise them one day and cook like a really elaborate dinner and like get really nice wine, like, because I want to reciprocate it. And I think that that's what's important, is that's like why you're doing it, and that both people are, bringing that to the table in whatever medium that is. But I want to ask about ghosting. Have you ever ghosted a girl? And if so, why'd you do it?
Yeah, I wasn't interested.
Well, why didn't you just say that?
Because I was stupid. I don't know. Because I was being selfish. And again, like I don't text people. So I was like, whatever. Just like I knew it was going anywhere. I've done it when like I knew they knew it was also going nowhere. We were just being pleasant. And so I just let it kind of ride.
That's fair.
Totally.
Boys,
anyone else?
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Most of the time it's what you're talking about, Josh, where it's like you go on a date, it doesn't go that well for either parties. You can tell like it's just not clicking for whatever reason. And then you leave the date and you're like, oh, thanks for like, I had a good time or whatever. And then they were like, I had a good time. And then there's no other text. So It wasn't even, I guess, ghosting. It was just like mutual. Just like
tapered off.
I've been ghosted too. So I don't fuck it. Whatever. It happens.
What's your definition of ghosting though, as a girl?
Yeah.
Like totally falling off the face of the earth. And
I guess if like you were talking, you were like, let's say you were chatting, like talking, you've hooked up a couple times, and then you just like one day stop answering, stop talking.
Okay, so I've never like, if she sends me a message or reaches out, I'm gonna reply. But it's like in the sense of ghosting where it's like, all right, I don't really want to do this anymore. Then I like kind of like don't, give out as much as I was. And like, I let it kind of die out in a sense. Like, I'm not going to just one day stop replying no matter. It's like, I think everyone deserves somewhat of an explanation. Everyone deserves, to be, communicated with. So I don't think I've ever really ghosted someone in the sense where it's like, I didn't reply to them, but I've definitely kind of gone like MIA, like in a sense where it's like, all right, like, I'm not really invested anymore.
Yeah.
I also think though, Nick, like to give you some cred, you're also like, you talked about it already, but like, you're such a direct communicator that you've told us about stories where you've been like, it's not going anywhere. And you told someone that. And I feel like a lot of dudes don't do that, which is pretty unique.
Yeah, well, I think that, personally, like, I think that's the way to go. Like, you're not seeing someone, like, for me personally, it feels like more of a waste of time and energy to like have to do like the slowly creep out thing. Like, I would rather just send the text and be like, hey, you're really awesome, but like, I just don't, I don't really see this progressing beyond this. And it's interesting to me when people are like, yeah, I'm not interested, but we're just like kind of still texting. I'm like, just say something. Like, so much less energy.
It's all about honesty. It really, for me, it just kind of, I've been in those situations before. I'm like, well, what the fuck happened? And like, it doesn't feel good. So like, obviously ripping the Band-Aid off is usually the best thing to do, I think, because you don't want to drag it out. You don't want to fuck with someone's head. It's going to be awkward when you do it, but it's going to save you so much time, and it's going to make you feel better. And it's going to make that person ultimately feel better too.
Exactly.
Yeah. What kind of compliments do you guys like from a girl? Like what, like about physical related, personality, achievements, or do compliments make you uncomfortable?
See, I don't think guys feel uncomfortable with compliments.
Mm-hmm.
I find that sometimes girls do though. Like when I say something, they're like, well, like, I don't do well with compliments. It's like, why not? Like, you're an attractive, like intelligent woman. Like, why can't I compliment you? Especially if I'm hot for you, like what's the issue here?
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I think there's not like one particular compliment that I'm looking for. I mean, I think if I pride myself, I guess, in just like my deep thoughts and like the way that I kind of approach the world and like the way I look at things. So I think if she can like notice that, then that's definitely a plus.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Alex, Josh?
I like when people compliment my work. I don't like when people compliment me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Oh,
it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
what
fair.
about you, Alex?
Yeah, no, I think compliments always feel good for me, but there's a distinction between like one that really means something and one that doesn't. So I think I have a pretty good radar of that. So it's like, right. Sometimes someone will give you a compliment and you're like instantaneously, you're like, oh, that's nice. And then
surface level.
And then you're like, well, it's not the same as what you're talking about, Nick, where they recognize something that you like. Look, that everyone looks at themselves in the mirror all the times, not just talking about physically, but like mentally as well. There's things about themselves that they like. There's things about themselves that they don't like. And when someone gives you that affirmation of especially something that you like, and even more so when it's something that you don't like and it flips the switch on you, like that's a meaningful compliment. And I don't know, those definitely get to me.
The compliments I was talking about, I think I like them because it makes me feel like they were present in like the conversation that we had, or like just being with me, right? Like it makes me feel like they've actually been invested in the time that we've been spending together. And it's not like a surface level compliment where they can just pick that out of a lineup, or like, oh yeah, he's cute, or he's got nice hair, or like he's got a nice smile, or he seems smart. Like if you're present in the conversation and you can actually like really dive in, then that means more.
100%. And I agree with Josh. Like when someone appreciates, I think as artists, we can all appreciate that. If someone really like looks at your work and like really looks at it, and I feel like a lot of times people just kind of see it but not look at it. That's always great.
Yeah, when people say like, oh, I love this thing that y'all did, I'm like, I'll talk about it all day because I'm so stoked
because we're passionate about what we do.
And it's someone says, oh, I love what y'all did, that's great, and I'm like, I'll talk about it for hours. Like my buddy called me today. He's like, oh, I love like the interview y'all did. And I was like, oh, again, I was like able to like discuss it and like how it happened, like what we thought about it, like what we thought about it, and, like our takeaways and like what we liked that we did, like everything, all that stuff. And then he'll be like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And then I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what's up with you? Like, I don't know. It's not for me. It just makes me feel weird when someone
that's fair. Okay, like couple more and then we'll let you guys go. I know we've been talking for literally 2 hours. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No,
I could literally keep you guys here all night, but I won't do that to you. Do you have any deal breakers when it comes to like dating or relationships, like any like super red flags, super deal breakers, maybe that are like a little more general.
Yeah. Oh, she needs to have friends.
Oof, friends. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Huge. And it was going back to like the bikini things on Instagram. If you're not an influencer, but you're only posting solo photos, I do judge you. And I probably won't go out with you because you don't have friends. And that's a red flag to me. If other girls don't like you, it's a problem.
red flag if she's estranged from her family. If she doesn't have a good connection with her family, or I mean, like there's some things you can't control where it's like I didn't come from a good, like good parents or whatever. But you know, people that are really close with their family usually have good morals and good values.
Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like when someone, and you don't really get to know someone well enough until you've been dating them for a little bit. But like when someone doesn't want to admit that they're wrong or admit that they can't be better. It sounds a little critical, but I think it's more so just like I'm a person that likes growing and likes learning. And like, if someone's not into that and they're like totally averse to that and think that like the way things are the way things that should always be, I'm not into that. Not into growth, like stunting growth at all.
Yeah, for 100%.
Sure. I think that's huge.
Yeah. How much does the fear of rejection hold you back? So like in either asking a girl out or in wanting to take a relationship to the next step?
Not anymore. I don't.
Good.
My Israeli boss, I had an Israeli boss, and he'd be like, "Why don't you ask her out?" I'd be like, I don't know. I don't what if she says no? Like, you know, like she's like, it's not worth it. He goes, well, what happens? Where are you at now? He's like, so like, I'm like, well, I'm not dating her. Okay. What happens if she says no? I'm not dating her. Same thing. Okay. So what's the difference? So go do it.
Wow.
I'm picking you up from work next week. If you haven't asked her out, I'm not putting you on another job. He like say like ridiculous shit like that. And I'd be like,
I love that.
Yeah. And he's wildly intense. I love him to death. But yeah, and I was like, from that point on, I was like, all right, if I want to ask a girl out, I'm going to ask a girl out. And if she says no, I'm in the same exact spot as I was. I'm still going to do the same thing I was going to do tomorrow and this weekend. And it does not make a difference. And it just, it'll just chalk it up to something that could have been. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I like to tell myself that I think like that, but that definitely, the rejection thing sucks. I can take rejection as an actor. I can take rejection as an athlete, as a student, but for some reason, like when you get rejected by like someone that you really want, it's like, ugh, it really hurts.
Totally.
Yeah, it could stink on ice.
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of in between you guys, I think. Sometimes I feel like that, Nick, and then other times I feel brave, Josh, like you. So I haven't had to feel like that in a while though. So it's nice to be on the other side of it.
Were you scared, Alex, when you were taking it, when it went from, dating to a relationship? Was that scary?
Very, very much so. Cause this is like the first long-term relationship I've really had. So, and I have an older brother and an older sister, and neither of them have been in a long-term relationship. So yeah, it was a lot of fear in that step. Now I have, other like anxieties about those next steps, right? Because they're even bigger than they were. So, and I'm sure, both of y'all can kind of attest to that as 4-year relationship, 8-year relationship, like that number, like the number comes with like new territory from other people looking in. And so again, it's just that reminder that like only you and your partner control what happens. So yeah.
100%. You guys rock. We could do this forever, but I'll ask you our like last question. Since we've been talking for 2 hours and I'm sure you have other things to do.
We podcast, baby. That's the life, right?
Has there been any resource in your life that has helped guide you through your 20s thus far? It could be book, podcast, person, anything.
My friends.
Yeah.
Does that count?
That counts. Yeah, that totally counts.
Yeah. I mean, just being in the same boat as people, like being like in a group of people, not feeling like you're the only one.
Yeah.
Like these two guys right here, you know, we go through almost everything together. We work in the same job together, do the same podcast. We're all actors. We're in the same acting class. Josh and I had a job together at a restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, like being able to go through the challenges of being in Los Angeles all together is, you know, it's really valuable. And I can't tell you, there's so many people out here that move to LA not knowing a single soul. They come out here just by themselves, pack a bag, pack up their truck, whatever they do, and they just do it by themselves. And to have people in the same boat as you is so valuable. And it's, you know, it's privilege.
It is privilege. It is.
Yeah. So, like obviously the friend thing's great and family's great. All like the people are that you're close to are great. I would just say the one thing, so I don't even know who said it, and probably so many people have said it, but just like maybe it was, it didn't come from the Drake lyric, you know, you only live once, but I was like, I literally am on here. I'm here for one time. So I'm just going to do whatever I want as long as it's not hurting other people. It's respectful of other people. And that's it. And you know what? Because there's no point in life of just, you know, curbing. Listen, it can't be fun 24/7 because then you don't get to do what you want later on. You have to realize that. But that aspect is just knowing that and just keeping true to that is big in the 20s.
Yeah. Love it. You guys have been really so incredible.
Yeah, do this.
I was just complimenting them.
Oh, I thought you were signing up, Brenda. I was like, what?
I'm really fascinated.
I'm sorry.
It's Brent, wait, no, please continue your thought though, Brenda. I want to. It felt like sage words of wisdom.
I feel like she was being stoked.
No, I really just am like so amazed because I can't tell you how many friends that we have that have such a stigma against like men not caring and, you know, all these different things that I feel like put all men in one box. And I feel like you guys in these 2 hours have proved to us not that we believe this about everyone too, but that have really proved to us that like you can have these conversations and that being vulnerable and feeling connected and like putting your best foot forward and wanting to grow and like all these things that we've touched on and talking about the hard topics and the sensitive topics just make all the difference in relationships, in friendships, in life. And I'm just so amazed by you guys, but continue.
Not necessarily like one person or anything like that that has kind of helped guide 20s for me, but I think a lot of just combination of things, conversations with friends, things that you jot down, like it's the conversations we had with Matthew McConaughey, like last week, like things that he writes in his book, like paying attention to every little like piece of advice because we don't know all the answers right now. And then like reminding yourself to stay like directional. So like to keep like going forward. I don't know. I just like
stay in the race, commit to the chase.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right there, Nick.
I said
to stay directional and just to not stop and like question, because that's when you question, you get into your own head and you get anxiety about things and it all catches up to you and it like slams down on you. So I think just kind of staying, I don't know, reminding yourself like what you love and continuing to just progress forward.
Work for that for sure.
And working for it and working hard at it, I think is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to echo that, Alex, and what Brenda said, I think the biggest privilege, me and Brenda just had a conversation about this, of our life so far is like having to do this, getting the privilege to do this show and talk to people and talk to you guys and like get all this like amazing knowledge that people have to offer and like really listening to it and then really asking yourselves the deep questions that I don't think we would be asking ourselves and each other if we didn't, you know, throw ourselves into this medium. So I've just been very grateful for that.
And it gives just so much endless perspective that we often go around like making judgments or generalizations like we talked about a lot, and this just offers so much perspective. So with all of that being said, thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for being so open and real and raw and vulnerable with us when you had literally no idea what we were going to talk about.
And didn't know it was going to be 2 hours long. So
no, thank y'all. Thank y'all. It was great. Congrats on the 100th episode and the more hundreds to come. Keep it up, y'all.
Thank you. And if people want to listen to you guys, where can they find you?
Cherry Stripe Podcast, baby. Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast, and on the IG, Twitter, and TikTok and MySpace and Club Penguin. We have all
Club
the
Penguin. Club Penguin. Definitely go find them on there.
Our
Maybe
penguin
their
has a hat.
igloo.
Yeah, maybe they'll let you in their igloo.
It's a crime party.
Thanks, guys. We love you guys. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, y'all.